Welcome back. I was finally able to get back to Glinda. I have had a crazy, hectic schedule lately. This weekend kind of kicks off my fall season for vendor shows, starting with our local Marigold Festival, which is a Saturday, Sunday outdoor event. So there is massive amounts of prep that go into that as far as setting up, tearing down, spending hours and hours outside, dealing with wind, dust, no rain this year. So I'm going to take that. It was a great year. We had good weather. But then it kind of snowballs from there, and I have several events after that. So it gets a little crazy, not to mention that on Etsy, my wizard hats continue to be a success. I'm selling every couple of days. I'm taking like 12 to 15 hats to the post office. I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So keeping up with that is keeping me busy, but I finally made it back to Glenda. I recut with the new pink color. And got those done. I got the bubble ruffles sewn together and I got them attached to that lower tier that I had on the dress earlier. One thing that I decided to do, I thought I'd have more time to work on it this weekend, but I'll tell you what, after working all weekend outside, and by the time I came home, I was just like, nope, not gonna do it. And I thought I might do a video. Nope, not gonna do it. So this is Monday after the event. I'm actually flying out to Disney World for a little break, so I'll be gone for a week. But I did have opportunity on Friday night. I went around and I actually tacked down some of these bubble ruffles to the underneath tier. My thought process on that was that whenever we lift this up, rather than them falling, this is the smaller one, but then they just kind of fall. The bigger one is heavier, so I think it goes, let's see if I can find it here. Nope, that's not it. I don't know where the big one, the original one I did was, but it kind of falls and I want it to be just a little bit more poofy. So I thought, well, if I tack it to this bottom tier, then whenever my theory in my brain is that whenever I pick it up, then it will kind of force those bubbles to poof out a little bit instead of just hang straight down. I probably tacked it in more places than I needed to. When I look at some of these, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to lay the way that I like it. But I'm not going to know that until I pick it up and put it on the mannequin to see how it looks. So in my brain it works, but I'm not sure. But I rather tack it while it's flat like this because it's so much easier for me to do it this way. And then once I get it on the mannequin, if I don't like some of them, I can always just snip those. So, trying to think of the process and the order in which I do these things, I think that's probably my best bet. Tack everything and you can always undo it later. Or I might have spent a whole lot of time tacking this and the whole thing is just going to be garbage. I don't know. There is not a pattern for this, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. Like I said, this is like my brainchild here. It could completely look like crap. So you're going to find out from me with me at the same time, whether or not I'm successful or whether I failed miserably. So I did pin inside here to do a nice little French seam to close that up. If everything looks according to plan, if not, I might be ripping this all out. We'll just see, but everything is tacked, and we're going to pick it up and pin it over here and hopefully see. I was able to raise this up a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it. I may have to scoot it over. But then once I get this done, then I get to do it again with the smaller ones. This is the big ones here. So we're going to pick this up and it's a moment of truth on whether or not I'm successful or whether or not it looks like crap. Okay, here we go. It's a lot of work. I hope that it's not crap. So we're going to pick it up and see how these ruffles, ooh, this is heavy. I'm going to really have to think about how this gets tacked on. Interesting. Okay. It's not quite as poofy as I had hoped, but Let me see. If I was smart, I would have moved my pins over here. Hold on. Oh, it's going to stay for a second. Here they are. I'm back with pins. Okay. So if I just tack this in a couple places, it's not going to be centered because I'm just eyeballing it. Oh, look at that. I bent the crap out of my pin. This is pretty thick. I'm going to have to think about how I attach this on here. Now let me see. Now there will be another layer, that shorter layer on top. So I actually kind of like that. You know, there'll be that other tier on the top. I might actually cut this one. It actually looks pretty good. Let me turn it around for you. You can see. I don't like the way that one's laying, but oh, maybe that one didn't get tacked down. That's why that's why that one's not laying right, because it didn't get tacked down. But that's an easy fix. I can probably do that. I like that. And then with that other one on top, the other layer on top, I think that's going to get a nice full effect. Yeah, if I cut this open, I think it'll kind of come out a little bit more. Yeah, with a few little tweaks here and there, I'm going to say what I had in my brain is pretty close to what actually ended up on the mannequin. This is absolutely gorgeous. I have my sequins here. I'm going to be doing beading here. I'm going to be doing beading along the satin edge as well. That will be hours and hours of probably sitting in front of the TV and sewing little things on here and there. That'll give it that little pop, that little shine. But I would say that's a success. So I just need to fix a couple of things, and then yeah, I'll work on the top tier and get that on and add a little bit more. And the challenge will be, this is very heavy. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to hook it on, you know, because this is in layers and you put it on in layers. So another challenge for another day, but I'm happy I don't have to go back and redo anything.